Good morning, everyone. My name is Umit. I'm going to present our project of QB50 participation from QARMAN Institute. In general, we have 3 payloads for the whole mission time, and I separated my presentation according to them. So, I think most of you heard about QARMAN Institute because of the QB50 mission. So, QARMAN is QARMAN Institute's own participation to QB50 mission, but we're just using the launcher. We don't have the payloads that you're using. And the name of QARMAN comes from CubeSat for Aerothermodynamic Research and Measurements on Ablation, which was a new term for me. My background is mostly electronics and computer sciences. So this is our team. We have 3 PhD students. We have also Mr. Scholz and Mr. Testani here. Many of you know them as a QB50 fourth persons. But in their free times, they tend to come to my office and help us, thankfully. And our project is sponsored by ESA. It's an ESA IOD mission, in orbit demonstration. So, here you see our 3 phases. The first phase is the commissioning and detumbling. Basically, after the orbit ejection, after the ejection of the pod, we need time to detumble and to commission the satellite. After all the checks and the tumbling process is completed, we switch to phase 1, which is a differential drag-based orbital maneuvers. It's a payload of University of Liège. You see on the right side. It's our partner. Our colleague Lamberto, his PhD is completely based on optimization of this orbital maneuvers by aerodynamics drag differences. And after that, this phase will take approximately a month. We are hoping that it will take a month. After that, we switch to the phase 2, which is the passive aerodynamic stability phase. This is basically all the phase 2 is controlled by Mr. Scholz here, He designed the complete panel assembly, all the simulations, etc. And on the final phase, we have the re-entry phase. We will become like a ball of fire, as you see here, and burn from 120 kilometer altitude to 45 kilometer altitude approximately. And then after that phase, heating up phase, we will descend further and touch the ground or crash down. Here's a little more detailed phases of ours. So we will have first detumbling phase, then we will switch on the phase 1 for the aerodynamic drag-based orbital maneuvers, which will be normal, which will be work as a regular CubeSat mission. We will have UHF communication, we will have ADCS controlled satellite, and after that, the second phase, and by the way, we will continuously keep them descending because of the low altitude, and in the end, we will have approximately 23 minutes of phase 3. This is our electronics subsystem structure. It's fairly similar to the rest of the CubeSats, but we have too many sensors. We have approximately 34 temperature sensors, 7 pressure sensors, and 4 strain gauges, 1 optical spectrometer, near infrared, and 1 photodiode, and the rest is for housekeeping. One interesting part is we are planning to use Iridium constellation for communication, because we don't know where we land during the re-entry, so we need a global coverage for communication. And I'm going to talk about the rest for the next slides. Our ADCS, EPS communication system in IME with commercial off the shelf, and we are developing our thermal protection system, our panels, the OBC and duct ports, and the UHF antennas. So, what is the differential drag-based maneuvers? Actually, I don't have detailed information about this. It's my colleague Lamberto again. They will have a target, virtual or real, and they will basically track it for a month, and they're hoping to come close to approximately 1 kilometer level to the virtual target in a month. So I think it's a quite challenging part. They will have, at the first days of the mission, we will upload the target information. They will have all the calculations and everything on board, and then they will command the ADCS for tilting maneuvers, and in the end we'll see what happens. For the second phase, during the first phase our panels will be completely stowed, and we need to deploy them. For the second phase, here's our deployment mechanism. The challenging part here is due to the heating during the re-entry, we cannot have any gaps on the junctions of the panels. So again, Mr. Scholz designed this fancy mechanism here, so we don't have any gaps or any dangers on the deployment mechanism. And once we deploy it, we are going to look something like this. You see the turnstile dipole antennas on the corners and deployed panels. So during the phase 2, we will measure the oscillations and the forces on the panels and the drag increase to validate the sixth of simulations we had before, and we will validate the design of this stability system. And for the final phase, we are going to descend further, and the most exciting part of the mission will start. We will heat up, and here we will have told you a lot of sensors to measure, and we have also a lot of things to validate. This part of the mission is handled by the Işıl Sakarkar. She was doing all kind of simulations and testing before in our plasmatron facility, and she chose the TPS material and the front core, and we will have all the sensors activated on this phase. We will log all the data and compress all the data during this phase, and after the phase is completed, after the blackout, the electron density is decreased, we will start communication with the Iridium modem until we crash land. So here's the internal layout of the QARMAN. You see on the front is the cork that is shaped according to the simulations. for robust re-entry. The back sides, the side panels are made of ceramic materials because the temperature will reach around 1000 degrees during re-entry, and then the tip part will be way higher than the 1000 degree level. On the inside, we will have avionics, but much of you will know that we have to survive both for 3 months during orbit, and we have to survive the 20 minutes of re-entry. So, which is physically impossible. So we had to separate the subsystems that will be active during the orbit and that will be active during the re-entry phase. So the subsystems such as EPS, ADCS, GPS, and UHF modem will be placed like a normal CubeSat, but we will have a survival unit, as you see in the middle, that will be heavily insulated, and my colleague Pilot Estani will have a detailed presentation about this right after me. And here's what we have in the survival unit. We will actually have 2 parts. One part is for the data acquisition on the XPL payloads, pressure sensors, temperature sensors, spectrometer, etc. And inside the survival unit, we will have the IMU, INS, Iridium communication modem, OBC, batteries, and the regulators, and the Iridium antenna. So that will be all. Thank you very much.
Again, we have time for plenty of questions.
Thank you for interesting presentation. My question is about the re-entry phase. Did you account for the fact that the solar panels may burn up, and this will change your configuration and angle of attack? And then what happens then?
Well, this is more a question of Mr. Scholz, but the solar cells will burn out, but the panels are made of special ceramic materials. So we make simulations so that they will survive both for vibration and the temperature environment during the re-entry. At least we are hoping.
Just to correct you have an IMU and an ADCS system. And the IMU is just for use during re-entry, is that correct?
Yes, it's both IMU and INS. It's a navigation system also.
Yeah, but it's just for the re-entry phase of the
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other question?
One more question. I was wondering about the legal aspects of your mission. Did you have any challenges in that? I mean, if you hit something on the ground?
Yes, a lot of simulations have been done on this to measure the danger, and it's below the limits, the international limits. And afterwards, we have that information. Now it's ESA is handling the rest to do all the government work. But it's officially safe.
Any other question?
Presentation. Just to ask on the previous question, so is von Karman Institute going to be liable or ESA? In case we have a danger ground.
I am not allowed to talk on this, sorry. but I think it should be ESA, because the satellite will physically belong to ESA after the project. And they are handling all the official work, all the documentation, etc. So we are just scientists, we cannot be liable.
Well, I agree with you because ESA has also a science-based read, so you're right.
Thank you.
So thank you again.